Are you one of these people that gets extremely annoyed when the sound of someone chewing with their mouth open hits your ears? Well, you may have this thing called misophonia. Join us for a very interesting and unusual topic. Welcome back to this episode of very unusual and interesting topic. Have you ever felt extremely bothered by some sounds so much that they can cause you emotional distress? Then this episode is for you. I am Carmen Roman. I am a clinical psychologist and I am very happy to be here with this topic. Okay. Is there an explanation for the emotional distress you feel when you hear certain common sounds? Those sounds that usually people don't really pay that much attention to, but for some reason they bother you and trigger you in certain ways that your body wants to respond. This phenomenon is characterized as misophonia, a disorder that can cause a fight or flight response from your body and can cause some really discomfort for some people, leading to times of isolation and avoidance of social interactions in order to avoid these trigger sounds. According to a paper published by the Harvard Medical School, misophonia can seriously compromise the normal functioning, socializing, and mental health of those who suffer from it. But what is misophonia exactly? The name misophonia comes from the Latin words miso, which is hate, and phonia, which is sound. This is a disorder that creates extreme discomfort. It could be emotional or physical when hearing sounds caused by other people or animals or the environment, like, for example, chewing, breathing too loudly, yawning, or lip smacking. This disorder can start in late childhood and actually last during the adulthood. During a British-based research, it has been noted that persons with misophonia showed much greater psychological signs of stress, like sweating and higher heart rate when the trigger sound was on display. And I'm not talking about when you are bothered by some sounds, and particularly when we are tired. When we are tired, when you just wake up from your nap, when you work too hard all day, you will be more vulnerable and irritable, probably, and more noises or attitudes from people will bother you. No. I am talking about people who experience symptoms like physical tension, anger, and momentary hatred or disgust towards the person who is responsible for triggering the noise. And while this phenomenon meets most of the criteria to be considered as a mental disorder, its nature really still remains unclear and is currently being related to obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD. As half of the people that suffer from misophonia also meet the criteria for OCD. So, as you may understand, these symptoms can lead to the people feel misunderstood or actually being criticized as delicate or a very sensitive person. How you can know if you are suffering from such a disorder? Well, it is not enough just to get a little bit annoyed by sounds. We all get sometimes annoyed by sounds, but it is this reaction that your body really wants to escape from the situation, and it really causes you emotional distress. And you know what I am talking about. In severe cases, you may feel irrational panic, rage, fear, and general emotional distress. And it's very important to know that these types of reactions adds negatively to the individual social life. So people who suffer from misophonia may have this anticipatory anxiety because they may be thinking that they will go to the mall or to this party or something and the noises will be there. And probably is right, the noises will be there. So the anxiety starts actually from the idea of going. And that creates a pattern of avoiding restaurants, malls, social events, everything that can cause these people to suffer. So people who suffer from misophonia may find very irritating, like grinding sounds, slurping, crunching, sniffing, the rusting of papers or fabric, nail clipping, and in some cases it may also include some visual triggers. It's not only about noise, it's about visual, like somebody who is, like me, constantly moving my hands, or somebody who is nervously moving their legs, or constantly ruining their nose, or chewing, or opening the mouth, and it's the visual part of it too. Again, if you suffer from some of these noises, sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it's part of the normal life, yeah. And just to put you an example, every time I run the blender, which is quite noisy, the blender in my house, I need to say ruido, ruido, because my cat closes his ears or goes somewhere and my husband definitely flees from the kitchen. A good analogy to understand how this condition may be for some people is that when we hear this nail scraping in a chalkboard, this terrible sound, that kind of sound that causes goosebumps and feel like getting away from it. When we don't have misophonia, we rarely find those sounds, or they are uncomfortable and we just let it go. Yeah. So that helps you to create the difference, to understand the difference. So you may ask, is there any treatment for it? Is there any cure for it? No, currently there is no cure for it. But there are some very good options to manage the symptoms. For example, tinnitus retraining therapy. People with misophonia had also reported suffering from tinnitus, a condition that causes the ringing on one ear or both ears, and it affects about 15 or 20% of the population, one of every 5. So that's a very high number. When it comes to tinnitus, treatments can help people learn to accept and tolerate those sounds. This specific treatment can also help those who suffer from misophonia, as this can help them to manage the daily sounds. Actually, we are talking now, and pretty soon we will bring you a specialist in tinnitus, or 2 specialists, because one of them is going to talk to us in Spanish. So stay tuned for that. The other option is just develop some coping strategies, like distracting yourself with a mantra or an affirmation, or wearing headphones with a calming music or white noise. That could help you alleviate the symptoms and help you to continue your daily task. Or going to psychotherapy. Of course, I am always going to say going to psychotherapy. Yeah. Since misophonia is linked, remember, with other disorders such as OCD, anxiety disorders, and in some cases with ADHD. Starting psychotherapy and talking about these symptoms with your therapist will help you. Always remember to find a licensed therapist in your state or in your country if you are in another country. And they can help you to find the best coping mechanism for you. Never hesitate to ask your therapist if he knows about it or heard about it, and do some research for you. It's okay. Your therapist doesn't need to know everything, but you can co-work together in alleviating your symptoms. Remember, this misophonia is something not that easily found in literature. Okay, so if you are here still here with me. Thank you. Thank you. You are so nice. And hopefully you are finding this topic interesting. So stay tuned, because we are bringing some other topics that may help you to live in emotional harmony. For now, subscribe. And if you are in the video, please subscribe to the channel. Okay, bye for now.